Hello everyone and welcome to the Week 13 NFL DFS recap show here on RotoGrinders, otherwise known as the Gillcast. I am Davis Mattek, joined by my pals Sammy Reid and Nate Nohling, also of RotoGrinders.com, here to recap what we did in cash games Week 13. Boys, we all won. We all won this week. This is the first time this has happened in, I can't remember the last time.
It was like 3 weeks ago. We had a good week, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't feel like I won after the Steelers blew that egregious game and James Conner got hurt.
The way you guys were tilting today in our group chat, I thought you guys were both stone dead. I had no idea that your scores were as good as they were. Like that you guys were tilting so hard. I thought you're just toast.
I mean, I thought I was toast, but then our Lord and Savior of the year 2018, Patrick Mahomes, made it happen. Everything's good.
Didn't even get the 300-yard bonus.
Yeah, he was 5 away.
He ran pretty bad.
He did. Tyreek dropped like multiple 60-yard TD bombs.
I mean, oh my gosh, Tyreek. He played like a dude who was feeling the heat about being a domestic violence abuser for the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Dude played horrible. There were legit 2 60-yarders that touched his fingertips that were in his hands that he let go.
That is correct. Yeah.
I was also sweating and hardcore tilting Adam Thielen.
So, Nate, you beat me by 0.8 DraftKings points in our 3-man that took us to week 13 of the NFL season to finally figure out how to set up and enter at the same time.
Wait, did I really only beat you by that much?
Yeah, you basically beat me by an Adam Thielen like juke.
Oh, 1.2. Okay.
Math major Davis Mattek.
0.8?
Oh, yeah.
1.2.
Yeah, 1.2.
So yeah, I put up 162.5.
So you beat me by 1 Adam Thielen junk catch at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I guess you get to start it off. Let's hear your thought process on why you went Team Mahomes.
I went to Team Mahomes because, I think the chalky game of the week was the Tampa Bay Carolina game, and I think pretty early on in the week I was kind of nervous about that game overall, just how it set up from a play volume standpoint. And then seeing the confirmation on Sunday morning with the wind and the total just started dropping like a rock, I did not want to go with the Cam CMC teams or even the Jameis exposure when I already had Godwin. So I was trying to lock around Mahomes because he was my favorite of the QBs by far. I just couldn't find a team that I liked until this morning where I finally was able to find a team that I felt good about.
So Sammy, why did you go Mahomes?
Kind of because I'm a fish. And let me explain what I mean. So last night I'm out playing cards until like 3 a.m. Everything's great. I come home, I pass out. I wake up super late. I set my alarm for like 8 a.m., but I woke up late because my phone died. And I get like 72 text messages from you guys. And I'm like, oh shit, like what's happening? And like, I just see you guys freaking out about Tampa Bay and Carolina. And I'm like, oh no, what's happening? And like, it's like clicking down the lock. And I'm like, oh snap. And finally I get in the conversation and you guys just like convince me that the sky is falling. And I'm like, dude, I gotta get out of here. And then I pivoted away from Cam, Gurley, Emmanuel Sanders, and Galladay and went to like Mahomes, Gurley, Ellington, Julio. And honestly, it felt good. It felt good. I was like, oh, this is the key to the 2018 season. You just have Mahomes and Gurley in your lineup. Like, don't be an idiot. You just play Mahomes and Gurley and you win. And I did that, and thankfully I won. So that's what happened.
Pretty interesting that both of you decided to go with Gurley over CMC. Because
I like having the best fantasy player.
I don't know. Like I actually think CMC can beat Gurley.
Obviously.
Well, just over the next couple weeks, I think he can like score enough to end up averaging more DK points per game.
I think the reason I wanted Gurley was just the touchdown equity. And the reality is this Rams game, the Detroit game, I thought the Rams were going to smash in this game, but I was worried about overall like play volume. And so I was like, okay, if Rams smash here, Gurley's going to have 2-3 TDs here. And I felt so much better about Gurley, where with the CMC thing, I could totally see a game where if CMC doesn't find the end zone because Cam and the Panthers are trash. And I just thought, I don't know. I was not high on that game. I wanted as little exposure to that game as possible. I needed Godwin. I knew that. But outside of that, I wanted as little exposure as possible.
Dude, I'll tell you, the moment that Cam threw that touchdown to McCaffrey in the first quarter, I went on full-blown tilt. I'm like, dude, I'm going to lose all my money. I'm going to go Busto right now.
What I said in our chat was that if you missed out on 250 burgers from CMC, you need to exclude from DraftKings for at least a week.
Yeah.
I had the window open. I had the self-exclude window open in the first quarter. I was ready to pull the trigger.
I'm not even joking. Had Cam not thrown, if he'd only thrown 2 interceptions instead of 4, I actually think the double bonus and another touchdown was like very much in play for McCaffrey.
Dude, I would have definitely deleted my account and my Twitter account, all of it. I would have shut it all down. Like my past life would be nothing. I would have gone and lived in the Andes Mountains for like 3 years. Yes. I just couldn't deal with it.
So I also went Mahomes after swapping off of Winston, and I didn't really have a ton of concerns about like the overall plays ran or whatever in that game. It was just like the research is actually pretty damning that when winds get over 15 miles an hour, it actually is pretty bad for quarterbacks. Like it has a meaningful impact on their fantasy ceiling. And there was so much value available this week with, not that I played him, but with Ellington, with Ebron, with Spencer Ware. I thought the Chiefs defense was pretty good. Aaron Jones being a really good play, kind of at a little bit of a reduced salary. Godwin at 3,900. I just thought, just take the safest guaranteed points. Like Mahomes ran, like it seems absurd to say, but he ran bad today to only get 33 DraftKings points.
He really did. Bottom of the expectation.
Like Nate, do you have a fancy metric for like expected points for Mahomes today?
I'd have to pull it up. I haven't run.
Yeah, based on his air yards and Whopper, I estimate that Patrick Mahomes had 46.52 expected fantasy points.
But
I can't, my own proprietary metrics.
Let's see, if we look at this week 13.
46.52, Nate. We got it.
This was his lowest pacer on the year, I can tell you that much. His pacer was only 0.66.
So explain to the listeners what that means. Not me. Just explain to the listeners.
So it's
me neither. I'm going to go to sleep for a couple minutes. I'll be back.
It'd be like completed air yards divided by total air yards. Like total completed yards versus air yards. And so Mahomes historically this season has
he left on 2 throws. He has 150 air yards that he left out there.
Yeah, Mahomes this season has had one of the highest pacers on the season because, I mean, he's dealing with some of the most efficient wide receivers.
Tyreek and Kelsey just catch all those.
Yeah, but he had a 0.6 pacer this week, which is similar to like the seasonal performance of, let's see who's got like a point.
Please say Joe Flacco or something.
Please say Ben Roethlisberger.
I mean, put it this way, Sam Darnold's got a 0.75, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
so in other words, we ran bad to only beat people by as much as we did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So running back, you faded Christian McCaffrey, you dumb idiots.
Look, dude, just play Mahomes and Gurley. I thought it was actually sharp to get like
no, it was fine. It was fine to play Gurley.
Like life is good. Why complicate things?
My thing with Gurley is basically similar to Nate. I actually just thought that game was going to be horrible, but I didn't think it was going to be horrible in such a way that like everyone on the Rams got there. And I don't know what Goff got, but I think like Cooks had a decent game. Yeah. And so it was just like the Rams are they are the football version of like moldy cheese. I don't have that wasn't a good analogy. I need like a good rancid analogy to give to the Lions right now. They are playing some of the least appealing, most offensive football I've ever seen in the National Football League. And I just thought median outcome, I really think the median outcome for McCaffrey is better than Gurley. And there's probably a good chance that I was wrong, but
here's the thing. At the beginning of the week, I thought Saquon Barkley was the best running back play because he was a severe underprice.
He was the best tournament running back play, no doubt.
Yeah. And I was never, ever expecting to play Patrick Mahomes in cash. I would never pay this much for a quarterback. But like you said, as all the value came up, the Spencer Ware, the Eric Ebron, the Chris Godwin, it was just like, okay, I can just jam in the best plays and I don't have to be nearly as price sensitive as I otherwise would.
Oh, I don't even think I was being price sensitive. Like, I just wanted to straight up play McCaffrey over Gurley.
Which, I mean, I think they're in the
That's
same.
just a mistake.
Here's the thing: with Funchess out or limited, McCaffrey is like getting like 30% of the team's targets.
Yeah, well, Funchess caught a touchdown, so
he did not play very much though. He was really only in there when they were inside like the 15.
So he takes away the scoring upside from Christian McCaffrey. Also, Greg Olsen got out in the second half, which gave McCaffrey a ton more work.
I mean,
at the end of the day,
McCaffrey was gonna smash in this game regardless.
Okay, but to say that he's a better straight up play than Todd Gurley, who's like the highest touchdown equity player that we've seen in years, doesn't make sense, honestly. Like,
yeah, you're like fading like 0-2 LaDainian Tomlinson.
Basically. Yeah, to say that you want Christian McCaffrey coming off of
0-2 LaDainian Tomlinson just put up 12 DraftKings points in a game where there was 104 combined total points.
In one game, bro. In one game. And they got the win.
Todd Gurley will almost always have a higher expected output than Christian McCaffrey.
He does always have a much higher touchdown equity, but like this, Nate, you should just be like creaming yourself for this McCaffrey passing game.
Gurley is more touchdown dependent for his points than McCaffrey is. Like McCaffrey's always going to catch the most one James Devlin rushing touchdown, like the Rams equivalent of the James Devlin rushing touchdown is like severely damaging to Gurley's. Like a Gerald Everett touchdown is like legit horrible for Gurley's production. Yeah, but McVay's actually smart. He just like gives Gurley the ball at the goal line.
You know what's wild? You know what's wild is really they lost the chance to give Gurley a shot at the touchdown record by not giving him even like one touchdown in finding a way to get him to score in the Rams game. I think he has to score like 9 touchdowns in 3 games now.
Can we just talk about the tilt, Nate, that almost happened?
Oh my gosh. When Gurley
went down with
2.5 minutes left.
What you doing, dude?
No. Gurley is playing chess while you dudes are playing checkers. He knew they needed to hold the ball past the 2-minute warning.
Okay. First of all, that could have not worked out for him to still score. Second of all, like I just don't think kneeing it with that much time ever is a good idea. I thought that was a bad decision even if I faded him. That would have been
I think it's a bad decision, and I've played a lot of Madden. I think it's a bad decision unless you end the game there. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna go up like.
No, but listen, this is why you guys are fish and Todd Gurley is smart. He knew that they needed to hold the ball for the best possible win equity. You want to hold the ball past the 2-minute warning, which they did.
Shut up, Davis.
No, I'm just saying Nate could argue about this till he's blue in the face, but he knows I'm right. If you're effectively taking away a timeout from the other team.
I'd rather just score a touchdown. But Gurley's that's such a
Neanderthal Saquon Barkley at number 2 overall argument from you there, Sammy.
Don't even let me in there, bro. That's very offensive to me. That's very hateful. I don't appreciate it.
Do you have a counter argument to my point?
I mean, I just think in the context of that game, where the score was, the amount of time that was left on the clock, I would have just scored it there. I think it was a mistake not to.
This is why McVay is good, man, because he's got that drilled in to his.
And I actually think like McVay and the rest of the Rams were kind of actually upset that Gurley didn't take it in there. This wasn't a 1 minute and 10 seconds left where if you take the knee you can just run it out. You still had to get.
I stand.
There was an opportunity.
Yeah, what if something goes wrong? You fumble
on the goal line and they fumble the ball, or they get shut down and they have to take a field goal and they get the ball back with time on the clock.
So if they only get the field goal, how much were they up by?
13. They were up 10, then they would have been up 13.
Are you
touchdown,
sure?
Yeah, they were up 10 at the time, weren't they?
They were up 23-16, so that's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, they were up.
Points.
Okay.
So it moved a field goal moves it from a 1-possession game to a 2-possession game.
Right.
So Todd Gurley did the right thing.
No.
He did. Nate, this is literally unarguable. Because a field goal changes the chess game, right? Like it changes the math of he did the right thing. It's like, it's not even debatable. So we're moving on from that. Cause like we could probably spend 45 minutes arguing about this if we so pleased. So
I'd really rather not. I'm so happy you got that touchdown though.
Yeah. So good for you guys. I feel vindicated in the McCaffrey play, both in the process and in the results, and you guys should feel vindicated the same way. I don't think
both were fun. We're like splitting hairs here between awesome plays. Like,
yeah, people like when we do that though. People like the hair splitting. Well, we should feel bad.
We'll get into some non-hair splitting here when we talk about Davis's DJ Moore play.
Feel fine about it too. So what we did actually do that was bad though is I don't think any of the three of us gave any critical thinking into why Aaron Jones might not be the most optimal play.
I never even considered not playing Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Which is it's so bad.
Like maybe I'm a giant fish. I just considered him a lock from the very beginning. That's what
Sammy,
it was.
I didn't even consider using him until I did this full cast on Friday, and everyone was just like, "Oh, it's Aaron Jones, dude. He's massive home favorite against." And I was like, I guess. I wasn't even like, I'm just like filtering out Aaron Jones from like my head player pool. Like he wasn't in any of my builds that I was working on all week. And then,
I mean, that's smart because then you could have just gone Gurley and McCaffrey and Spencer Ware and just won the slate.
No, I probably would have played
Kelsey.
No, honestly, let me, Nate, why don't you do some talking about Aaron Jones, and I'm going to look at who I probably...
The Aaron Jones thing, I think he was a great play. I think none of us could have expected Jamal Williams to get 7 carries to Aaron Jones's 11 after what Aaron Jones had been doing up to this point. I mean, I think so. Jamal Williams saw 4 targets, and so did Aaron Jones. And I mean, the split was cut in like half basically, which was weird. So I think it was just Mike McCarthy play calling, which made this weird this week. I don't think it had anything to do with Jones being a bad play. Jones is a great play. 6.7, huge home favorite versus Arizona. This was a spot where I think he smashes here 8 out of 10 times. I would play Aaron Jones again, knowing everything I know now.
I mean, he was just coming off 3 straight games. He'd had like 172 total yards, 103 total yards. 93 total yards. He was getting 5 to 6 targets in every game. Like, he was getting like 80-90% of the snaps, something like that.
Like, let me tell you, yeah, Jamal Williams is, over the last 3 weeks, in week 11, he had 7.6% of the rushing attempts. In week 12, it was 5.2% of the rushing attempts. And then this week it was 30.5%. There was nothing to explain that. All of a sudden, Williams just became a huge part of the offense. And
I mean, I guess it's just that the Packers aren't a good football team and they just do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we probably should have taken into account, and we also need to recognize that we ran extremely well just to get a touchdown from Jones.
Like, it was looking like about 6 DK points from him for a while.
But he was 70% owned in cash, wasn't he?
Yeah, I wasn't even tripping like that he wasn't doing good because he was 70% owned. It was like, okay, whatever. Like,
oh no, he was only 50% owned. Wow.
Really?
Yeah, he was only 49.9 in the 25.
Oh yeah, he was. Dang. More than there's still an edge. 50% of fish played Aaron Jones.
There's definitely still an edge. Which is crazy. Like in the bigger games, there's not. Like in like the $500 double ups and stuff, there's really not. But like at our level, yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah. So I just always considered him a lock. I just thought, I thought he was like a 7,500 running back.
Here's an interesting question for you guys. Spencer Ware, about 90% owned, depending on which contest you entered. How many people do you think swapped off of Ware for somebody, knowing that their team was in a bad spot?
Probably less than you think. There wasn't much swaps because so many people played so much in the earlier slates.
The info seems to suggest that less than 1% of DK users actually utilize late swap.
And because of just the way that the late slate worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of just the way the late slate worked, there wasn't much to swap to.
Ware ran hot to get to 12.
Yeah, he did.
So that's.
But again, I'm not going to be results oriented. Like, to not play Ware was a huge,
it just would have been horrible.
Huge
giant mistake.
Yeah.
All right, so now we got to talk about wide receivers.
Yep.
So,
oh boy, here we go.
So in retrospect, what I should have done, or what
Can we talk about just the process first before you?
Yeah.
Talk about what you did do first.
So I played Godwin, who was a lock, and I played Kenny Golladay, who I actually didn't like. But I thought this was like the Sterling Shepard situation, Nate. Like, I legit was expecting Golladay to be like Aaron Jones. Like, I thought he was going to be like 60%. But what happened was people actually played, people played, they played Hump, they played, Woods. Woods was about 30%. People played Cooks. Just kind of flipping through stuff right now. A lot of people played Thielen. Thielen was about 30%. So I actually feel, and I also played DJ Moore, but I feel worse about playing Golladay than I do DJ Moore, not because of the results, but just because Golladay was a guy who before the game, I told myself a story like it's just going to be so easy for this dude to bust. And I know you're going to want to like throw a lot of stuff at me about how like more volume, yada yada, all this stuff, but I felt fine the way that this game goes, projecting a reasonable amount of targets for DJ Moore, and I also think he's a pretty efficient player. And I also really like the fact that Carolina uses him on running plays just because it really only takes like a defender slipping on one of those running plays for that to be like a 15-point play. Like you give the wide.
Here we go. We're on to like defenders slipping takes and stuff like this.
Well,
DJ Moore was such a bad cash play, Davis.
Davis.
So
when you start paying, what was DJ Moore's price this week?
5,600.
Okay, when you're paying 5,600 for a wide receiver and are talking about the fact that you like the running plays and hopefully a runner flip, that is the definition of thin in cash games.
So who I actually wanted there was Manny Sanders.
No.
But Manny Sanders didn't work with the Mahomes team, so the concession that I made to get all the other guys that I wanted was Moore instead of Manny Sanders, and Moore beat Sanders anyway.
It doesn't matter. Don't be results oriented. Moore was so thin.
Yes, Moore was absolutely thin. I'm not even debating that. The thing that I'm saying is that we're worse at projecting these outcomes than we thought, and this super irrational confidence that people had in Sanders. I thought Sanders was a good play. I didn't think he was like a slam dunk play, and I was fine making that concession to get Mahomes, who as the totals were dropping, I thought Mahomes was 5 points better than the Winston Cam combo that I thought people were going to have. And so I was fine making that concession. And this is something I've talked about on the show a lot. I'm fine making one thin concession, whether it be Theo Riddick, whether it be Ricky Seals air yards, whatever. I'm fine making one concession if I think it gives me a legitimate edge over the rest of the field, which is exactly what Mahomes did.
Yeah, but this was like a $5,600
concession
kind of.
So how many projected
your backup tight end?
How many projected points did you have Sanders over Moore?
It was probably, I don't have it pulled up right now because I cleared everything for showdown stuff, but it was probably 3 to 4.
Okay, and then how many points better did you have Mahomes than the other guys?
Mahomes was, okay, I'm not saying because of the Mahomes thing. I'm saying even with Mahomes. I went Mahomes and I didn't end up on Moore. You make the Moore play okay because you went somewhere at quarterback, and I just think that that's like some weird circular reasoning that doesn't, like, there's a lot of other things that you could have done to make the lineup work. I just think okay with Moore.
What I should have actually done,
thrown out Moore in builds with many other people all week. Moore was a bad play.
I disagree. I do not think he was a bad play.
The reason Moore has been an okay play and the reason he's priced at where he is because Funchess has been gone over the past couple weeks. And so CMC, Moore, and Samuel have been getting all of the touchdown expectation every single game. Once Funchess comes back into play, Olsen was all of a sudden Olsen and Funchess are taking touchdown expectation from these guys. Funchess did take a touchdown. Olsen got hurt in the second half, and then all the targets did get funneled back to Moore. But like,
Davis, what was Moore owned?
So I do think that there is a lot of reasons to knock the Moore play. My defense of it is generally pretty simple. I think that the wind definitely impacts quarterback scoring. It does not have as much of a marked impact on wide receiver scoring because wide receiver scoring is more about volume than efficiency, whereas quarterback performances, you generally need to be efficient to get like the 303 line that we mark as like really good quarterback games.
Davis, just bottom line, the wind actually helps. The wind helps your defenders fall down when he gets the one running play.
It does. The gadget floor. No, I think Moore is a really good player. I definitely did not think that Funchess was going to be active very much, which he wasn't. He did score. But like he was not in there on a bunch of those plays in between the 20s, which is actually really good for DraftKings because it helps you get the 100-yard bonus. Obviously, he was thin, but I wasn't willing to move. The more of the issue was that I was not willing to move off of Galladay, who I didn't really like. But like a better move obviously would have been doing what our boy Derek Carty did, which was just playing Ellington and Galladay, but getting Kelsey at tight end, which was the blitz optimal. And man, Carty, he got it.
I don't think it's good getting two Lions attaching two guys to Matt.
Carty can't hear you over all the money that he's drowning in.
I told him I was DMing with him last night or the night before, and I told him not to do that.
I didn't tell him not to do that, but I told him to play Mahomes because he had Cam.
Yeah. I just told him not to play two Lions, and the two Lions were bad, but it got him Kelsey and that smash.
I actually think Ellington was like, I think pretty clearly underpriced. I think Ellington was a good play.
Ellington, I felt good about with Ellington. He ended up getting 10 targets, and they weren't great targets. I mean, his ADOT was like, freaking, what was his ADOT? I mean, it was
2.1.
Oh boy, 2.3. Holy cow!
No, I was kidding.
So why don't you guys talk to me about why you didn't play Kenny G? Because I actually think that's more illustrative to the listeners. Because I was the only one that had him, but I think he was the highest owned guy not named Godwin in DK Cash today at wide receiver.
Yeah,
so I was all over Kenny G, and I had him in my lineup all week. So I loved Kenny G. I thought he was basically getting number one wide receiver volume for, 6.7 or whatever he was. I thought he was a great play. And it just so happened that, the way I made my swaps, I liked my swaps better, and it allowed me to get to Bruce Ellington. I ended up going Ellington instead of Galladay and then paying up at my other wide receiver spot, which was a terrible mistake. But it's just the way lineup construction worked out more so than like not liking Galladay. I thought he was great, and he ran really bad. I thought he ran poorly. He almost had a touchdown. His foot went out like 2 inches in the goal line, so he was really close to smashing.
Yeah, I think Galladay. I mean, I love Galladay. I think Galladay's a beast. I think he's extremely talented. It's just
couple things are going against him though, and their names are Matt Stafford and Jim Bob Cooter.
Yeah, I mean, when you are down 2 scores and with 2 minutes left in the red zone, you're running the ball on first down and 10, you lose yards, and then you run the ball again on second down. I mean, yeah. So I felt like Ellington at least had a higher floor because he was a lower price, so I didn't need as much from him, where at 6.7, like with Galladay, like you needed Galladay to have a touchdown and 70 yards, you're screwed. Where I felt like with Ellington, he could at least get a couple of those low ADOT throws, and like I would be okay with it, where I don't want to trust my high price guys on Matthew Stafford. I just don't.
Very, very sharp by you guys not playing Kenny G.
I think I just ran good, honestly.
No, that game was unfortunately on red zone for a bunch of the day, which there wasn't even that many points scored. I think they just like to show the Rams. So, you did not run hot, man. He never had a chance. Stafford was like, it was like Stafford side arming ball. Like, oh dude, it was so bad. And what made it more tilting was Ellington getting all these targets. Like, I'm watching and I'm like, man, I should have Ellington because he's getting all the targets and Galladay's just standing on an island. Like, so essentially the issue is just that Golladay was like not involved and the Lions are horrible. And I feel bad. Like I said, I feel worse for playing him than Moore just because I had like a better story in my head as to why Golladay would fail than Moore. And the story of Golladay failing came to fruition very clearly, which was Bruce Ellington getting all the short targets that are valuable on DraftKings and them not generating enough scoring opportunities to take advantage of what Golladay was good at. I will say he was a toe away from I think like a 15-yard touchdown. He had a touchdown where he was marked out at the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I knew once Ellington outscored Golladay that I was going to win money and things were going to be okay.
Did you?
Honestly, that was huge. It was a $3,000 gap, and Golladay was so owned where Ellington was like under 10%. So that was a huge swing too, even if Mahomes didn't smash the way he did.
So, hey, Sammy, why don't you break down your Julio Jones play? Yeah, Davis, you're such a dumb fish for playing DJ Moore. Now let me explain why I played Julio Jones.
Well, I thought maybe, the defenders on Baltimore might fall over and Julio might get down or something. I mean, just the way all my swaps went, I was like, okay, like now I have the opportunity to get one like elite wide receiver. Who should it be? Should it be Devontae Adams, who catches a touchdown and gets like 12 Aaron Rodgers targets every game? No, that doesn't
12
sound
Aaron
that
Rodgers targets are basically 12 Jeff Driscoll targets at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually true. Or should I play Adam Thielen, who like gets 100 yards every game and scores touchdowns and they're going to be down and throwing a bunch? Or should I go for Odell Beckham, who I just know is going to smash after everybody, after he let people down last week? No, you know what? I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to go with Julio freaking Jones against the best pass defense in like the NFL. And that's what I did. That was what I did. And Julio Jones caught 2 passes on the first drive and did not catch another pass for the rest of the game. I basically just thought defenses didn't matter. And Julio smashes all the time. Like, dude, he just gets 20 DK points like clockwork. Always. And, not today, man. Not today.
Yeah, he did have 181 air yards. I mean, he did get
Wait, did he actually?
Yeah, he had 8 targets and his ADOT was like 20. It was like, yeah, he had some huge targets.
Dude, how many points do I get for those? I mean, I made a lot of mythical dollars with Julio Jones today.
I mean, here's the thing. I do totally agree with you that like from a like defenses don't matter, whatever. Like I do.
I'm one of the biggest defenses don't matter stands, and even I said Baltimore is like significantly tougher just as an overall.
Even Frisco Josh on Twitter this last week admitted that Baltimore's defense might matter. Like not even kidding.
Baltimore is like otherworldly. And that's what I was trying to say about like even if Julio himself, like people break down the individual matchups more than I think you probably should. I think a lot of it is like looking at the overall pass defense, and I think Baltimore clearly just creates situations that are not profitable for other offenses. Like yeah, Baltimore.
There were a lot of reasons that Julio was like an elite tournament play, the same as T.Y. Hilton, the same as Barkley. Yeah. But, I mean, you already know you made a mistake.
I'm such a fish. I can't believe I played Julio Jones in cash games. I was like, Julio at home. This is great. Like, go look at his game log. I didn't 25 every day.
I'll be honest. I didn't think it wasn't Adrian Peterson bad.
Davis, you were on Julio all week over Devontae. You were trying to tell me I was a fish.
Well, I wasn't going to play either of them in cash, so yeah, I was going to play Julio, and I did. I did play Julio over Devontae in tournaments.
Well, Devontae put up like 23, kind of just like I said. So
I'm just glad I didn't also play Matt Ryan. I thought Julio was just underpriced. Like this is an $8,700 receiver for $7,700. I was like, dude, this is great. Like. This is going to work out.
Your thinking was certainly not the worst that you've ever thought.
I mean, only because I have Adrian Peterson in cash on my resume.
And you faded Christian McCaffrey last week.
And you faded CMC last week.
Guys, it's a little too soon. I'm gonna be honest. The wound
I figured there was such a new wound that was given to you by your Steelers tonight that like last week's wound doesn't even matter anymore.
Oh my! Can we talk about just what a brainless queef weasel Mike Tomlin is? I mean, like you see Mike McCarthy get axed. Like Mike Tomlin needs to get axed like that. Like the guy, dude, the game has passed him by. I mean, just his ideas of like when you should challenge and when you should play linebackers on Keenan Allen in coverage are like.
He probably has absolutely nothing to do with the defensive play calls.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He came from Minnesota as their defensive coordinator. He was one of these young hotshots.
But head coaches are honestly pretty far away removed from that stuff.
They've been doing this for years. At some point he needs to step in and be like, listen guys, we need to stop putting John Bostic, our like third string middle linebacker, on Keenan Allen. Like the Patriots beat us every single year because all they do is spread 5 wide and just throw to whoever dumb slow linebackers.
How much of a fish is Sammy that like an NFL team's win-loss record has this amount of impact on his life?
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty tilted about the Bears today.
Can you imagine if I still sweat Cowboys wins like this? Although I guess on Thursday night I would have been really happy. Like that would have been really cool for me if I still cared about them.
So I've actually like, for the most part, become really detached from like sports and teams, et cetera. Like when the Padres are bad,
other than the Steelers.
Other than the Steelers, I cannot let this go. I can't let it go. And
I get you,
it's
Sammy.
really bad for me.
I'm with you, especially on the
I'm just dead inside.
You're a freaking millennial. You're just like nothing matters.
It's when I'm at games, like when I go to a game, I'm able to like really recapture like whatever it was that made sports so magical to me when I was like 18. Yeah. When I go to games, but when I'm just like passively observing, especially when I have, thousands of dollars riding on things that don't have an impact on what the team does, it's like, it's like watching sumo wrestling. I don't really care who wins or loses. I'm just there for the spectacle.
You're just there for Juju and the captain.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, you gotta know what you're doing on these showdown slates though. Like Juju and the captain, they don't display the ownerships in the captain, right? Like it's just that guy's ownership percentage in total.
You have to break it out if you actually want to see that.
So like I actually assumed Juju and the captain was like a pretty unique lineup construction. Like I would have to think he was probably what do you think he was, the 4th or 5th most owned captain?
Less.
Yeah, like yes. Eckler, Connor, quarterbacks, Keenan, Brown. Some people do the kicker and captain to get all the studs in.
Even like Benjamin, because he was 200. Like it probably would have taken me probably 100 lineups before I had a Juju captain lineup, and I like Juju. Yeah.
Right. So like I'm not playing showdown. I'm not playing showdown to grind out, $113 a profit. Like it would be sick. It would be sick to like bink a showdown slate.
Yeah.
Which
we can't all be Drewby though. And so
yeah, we can't just
grind out $113 and you play 3 showdown slates a week, and actually on top of main slates, it gets pretty profitable at the end of the year. So
well, I have way more fun.
If you stop just banking away money that you make on main slates, it's actually helpful.
Well, I've done well on showdown slates because I've gotten Tyreek in the captain twice and Cooper in the captain, which is that will pay for my entry fees in showdown all year.
Yeah, that's true.
So like that's what I'm like. I really like that situation. Like getting the wide receiver who's got 40 DK point upside, like at less owned than James Washington in the captain. Like or Travis Benjamin or whoever. I like that.
Yeah, James Washington was inactive, so.
Justin Hunter or Ryan Switzer.
I had some Justin Hunter captain teams.
Right.
I did have some Switzer in the captain.
Right. So like cause like I guess people like to hear this stuff. Like my strategy was like, I'm just going to go, I'm going to go 100% Connor. I'm going to have him in every team. And then 50% of my lineups I did Eckler captain. And then the other 50% I did Juju captain.
Hey, how surprised on a scale of 1 to 10 are we that Eckler got cut by Jackson?
I'm kind of decently surprised. They seem to like Eckler.
Eckler's like really talented.
Yeah.
I'm like a big Eckler stan. Like
I certainly don't stan any running backs because they don't matter.
Yeah, but Eckler is actually like legitimately talented when he gets the ball in his hands.
You probably think he's legitimately talented because his efficiency stuff is like crazy, right?
No, not just because of that. Even just his physical profile.
But when you actually grind the film, Nate, you can see that Jackson is like way more explosive.
Is that even true?
Geez. No.
Yeah, you just got to grind the film. It's 100% true.
Sammy's a fish.
So tight end, we all went Ebron, right?
Yeah, which I think was the play.
I mean, he got like 15 targets.
Yeah.
None of us went Lacoste?
No,
Lacoste would have been horribad this week.
That's actually another reason why we won money, because I think people own Lacoste.
Oh, people! Let's just. I
went Lacoste in tournaments.
Find him.
I did too. I thought Lacoste was fine. I just wouldn't play him like in cash, considering the value that we had elsewhere. Like he's a play when Davis is talking about. I'm fine like taking him in the shorts at one position so that I can like every other position. That's what I would do. I would have played Lacoste in another slate, but because we had all this volume, I thought that was just pretty thin way to build lineups.
My exact lineup was actually very popular. Now that I'm like looking at this double up, it was like a duplicated lineup. This lineup I ran.
Lacoste was 15%, so not so bad, and Ebron was 55%.
Kelsey was 6.
Mm-hmm. Because he was so expensive.
It's just like he wasn't that hard to get in though.
Yeah, but you had to like make a concession. Like you couldn't play Julio Jones if you wanted to play Travis Kelce.
I mean, you had to play 2 Lions.
Yeah.
You had to play Galladay and Ellington.
Yeah, I was actually unwilling to do that.
We can't all be Derek Carty.
I mean, honestly though, for that to work out, like he's got to just like smash his balls off, which he of course did. But
I mean, the thing is Kelsey's actually their number 1 wide receiver because Tyreek's targets are those volatile targets.
Yeah.
Kelsey gets all those like 13-yard, like wide, he's running up the seam, no one's on him, he just catches it and falls down. Like he gets all of those.
Yeah, but it took Kelsey getting 12 reception on 13 targets with 2 touchdowns. So what is his average catch rate? I don't even know. But I bet if you gave him his average catch rate and 1 touchdown, he still got like 25 DK points.
I mean, here's the thing. Eric Ebron got 16 targets and 10
I'm not tilting. But I'm not saying we did anything wrong. You know what the actual lineup was? Like the actual lineup. If you went Galaxy Brain, you would have played Kelsey and Ebron because Ebron was actually
that is so Galaxy Brain.
Even if you just looked at the raw projections, like if you put those guys at wide receiver, wouldn't they both have been absolute smash plays?
I would have played Aaron Jones over Kelsey.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
So there's no way I was going to get Kelsey in the flex.
But you would have played, if Ebron was a wide receiver, you would have played Ebron over Ellington for sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think maybe even Ebron, I don't think I could have done it because I love Godwin so much, but Ebron probably was projected better than Godwin.
His floor definitely was.
You know what's crazy is I think Ebron had like 4 at half.
Well, I mean, Andrew Luck's going to throw it 50 times every game.
He fumbled on a rushing attempt, dude.
Hey, you live and die by the Ebron rushing attempt. Sometimes he gets you a touchdown. Sometimes he fumbles. You know, it's always a fun time when Ebron gets rushes.
Dude, he had 16 targets.
That's right.
Man, right. Andy, people want to crucify Cam for the game today. Luck scored 0 points, dude.
There was some bad passing today. Like there was some bad coaching today. There was just some horrible coaching.
I'm glad that a bunch of value opened up Davis because you were that far away from playing Andy Luck in cash.
Oh, I wouldn't have ever played him, but I was that close to playing Carlos Hyde.
Oh, dude. So many people got bailed out. Dude, I was telling you guys all week Hyde was the fish play. I told you all.
You know what? If you tell me that the Jaguars beat the Colts though, I'm probably like jamming in Hyde even harder. I'm like, oh, just get it in.
Yeah, but that's not how it actually works. I mean,
You know what I really got saved by though? Like the team saying that Yeldon was the starter. Cause you couldn't have moved heaven or earth to get me to not play Yeldon.
yeah. And he did catch 7 balls. But damn, dude, this Ware thing cost me so much money because Hyde would have been like 60% owned.
And you just would have flat not played him?
Yeah, I would have flat. At the beginning of the week before Ware was in, I think I went Saquon, CMC, and Aaron Jones.
Would you have played him, Nate?
Yes.
Hyde, yeah, I would have.
Yes, Nate would have definitely played him.
I would have played
Nate's
Hyde
a
for
fish.
sure. He was 3 point. No, Sammy.
No, Nate, Sammy, you would have been the fish.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. And I watched the Soulcast, and Evan Silva said the same thing, and I'm like, vindication.
Here's the thing, though. Hyde was in there more. He got more carries.
That doesn't matter. It was such a bad play.
Sammy, when you get what was he, 3 point?
Yeah, just when you get a starting running back that's
Stop
3.3, like you just got to do it.
Stop it, Sammy.
I would play Adrian Peterson for 3.3.
Well, let's not go too far. I know you're just trying to make me feel better here, and that would be an awful play.
Sammy, he had 50% of the rushing attempt share with touchdown equity, and he had.
Nate, I don't even understand what you're saying. I don't speak fish.
Yeah, Sammy, you're in the wrong here.
Sorry.
You know what actually makes me real upset though is that if Marlon Mack had been out this week, I would have just jammed in Nyheim Hines. I would have had him in 100%. And I know it doesn't look like he did a ton, but if he was in there for max snaps, he would have gotten like 25 without a touchdown.
We should just played Phillip Lindsay.
You know what? And I was so down on the Bengals. I wanted to play the Broncos defense. I bet the Broncos against the spread. I made them one of my picks in the super contest, everything. And I didn't really consider Lindsey, which probably makes me a fish.
Yeah, Lindsey was very good.
Yeah, Lindsey was good. And he was popping in some optimals too.
Yeah. I had Lindsey in tournament.
You know, I was like, dude, I'm going to get one of these high price studs. I'm going to get Aaron Jones. I'm going to get Ware. That just doesn't leave anything else. Unless you're, in GPTs, obviously it does.
So defense, you guys both played the Packers. I played the Chiefs just because I needed it for salary cap purposes, but I felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, I actually had the extra money, or obviously I had the extra money. I just decided that I liked the Packers better because they were at home, and I thought, Arizona's just so bad, and in fact, Green Bay is really bad. So that was the one thing I didn't take into consideration.
Boy alive, you are not kidding.
No. They just straight flat fired McCarthy. Hey, do you expect Aaron Rodgers to be good immediately again, or do you think it'll take some time, or do you think he just won't be good?
No, he's
again?
hurt, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he
I heard some rumblings this week.
I think that Aaron Rodgers is definitively hurt after watching this game today.
Davis, he had an 11 or 12 yard run that was the most explosive he's been all year.
The first down run, I saw it.
He didn't look hurt at all. He just looked bad.
I mean, maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe it's it. I don't know, but something is very off in how I don't think anyone with a straight
his timing is off with his receivers. He isn't putting the ball where he needs to, but he doesn't look hurt.
He's going to break the NFL record for throwaways, and I don't really know what to make of that.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys a really bad scouting take, but I want to
I'll match. I have a bad scouting take too, so you do yours first, and then Nate can be actually.
Yeah. So I mean, 2 years ago, let's just say 2 years ago, I thought that if you took somebody who had never seen football before and had them watch some games, somebody who never watched football before would be able to point at Aaron Rodgers and say he's different than everybody else. It would be that obvious. He moves different. He's able to throw different. He does all these. He just looks different than everybody else. He would stand out to somebody.
Yeah, now it's Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't think Rodgers looks like that right now. I can't put my finger on why, but I think that's absolutely the case.
I can put a finger on why just based off a take that I'm going to steal from someone. And I'm pretty sure that this person was Ben Baldwin, but I don't know 100%. But basically, I just don't remember. But basically, they just showed a bunch of screen grabs from like, I think the 2015 season, whatever the last year he was healthy and good was, how his throwing base is different. He's like squaring his hips up differently, which I don't really know what that means. Like this, you don't come to this podcast to hear scouting takes, but he is throwing the ball differently. His body is in a different position when he throws the ball now, which that seems like that could be problematic.
I can get Doug Thorburn on this case. He'd be able to tell pretty quickly, honestly.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Nate, are you asleep?
No, I mean, I don't know. He's Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think he's hurt. I think he's got some rookie wide receivers, and I think if, he's going to be fine as long as
kind of like how Brady's fine when Gronk is out there, and then whenever Gronk doesn't play, he looks like he's 41.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Gronk isn't playing well, it's like unmistakable how different that offense is, even when Gronk is playing right tackle.
Dude, I mean, here's the thing.
Still Rodgers.
Here's the thing. Everybody ages. And I think these guys are getting old right in front of our eyes. That it's sad, but it happens.
The thing about Rodgers is that like 2 years ago, I was like definitely team like it doesn't matter. He's only won Super Bowl. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. I would not argue that with anyone now. I mean,
he's still got the most volume of anybody. He's still leading the league in overall air yards. He's still like chucking the ball. I mean, he's got 463 pass attempts at an 8.83 ADOT. Like I'll still, as long as he's got like play calling behind him that isn't fish, like Aaron Rodgers is still a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's still great. Even a diminished Rodgers is still great. All right, so we got to talk about Showdown for tomorrow night. This could actually be the worst and most unappealing Showdown that we've had yet.
You're not excited about captaining Colt McCoy?
Yeah, the thing is they've been very inconsistent on how they price quarterbacks. Like even some like the Mariota Watson slate the other day, Mariota was over 10K, but now Colt McCoy is third most expensive player, 8,800.
Yeah.
Like just right now, I think you can captain Wentz, you can captain Ertz, you can go Wentz, McCoy, Reed, and one of the kickers and still get like Vernon Davis or Capri Bibbs or whoever.
We'll start off with like
Chris Thompson
perspective here.
What's up?
Like, start from a narrative perspective. Are we just expecting Philly to smash Washington? Is that kind of the game?
No, I am not expecting that.
No, Washington's going to put up points.
I don't think that either. I just think these are two bad teams.
I think Philly's a lot easier to score.
I mean, the biggest question of the slate is like, what are you doing with Josh Adams, provided that he, plays?
Yeah.
He is actually listed as questionable, but he's coming off a game with one target. Like without that sequence of the rushing touchdown and the 2-point conversion, he was like legit bad last time they played.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to play Adrian Peterson and take down the slate.
I mean, is
Thompson healthy yet?
Yeah. Thompson is expected to be active for this game, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to play.
Well, if Thompson's in, he's 4,400. He's the play from the running back standpoint.
Yeah, I think the way you win this slate is like figuring out where the Philadelphia passing targets are going to go, and obviously playing Trey Quinn. Trey Quinn. Well, Mo Harris is on the outside now, and Trey Quinn is in the slot.
I'm actually all right with, and this is gross because I hate this, but I'm actually all right with Golden Tate. He hasn't been scoring points, but he's been seeing more and more volume as the weeks have gone on with that team.
He's integrated into the offense now, bro.
Integrating a little bit, I'm actually okay just trying to get out ahead of what potentially could be a good game.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I think Ertz is clearly like the guy. If there's like one guy from a receiver standpoint that you're jamming in, it's Ertz.
Well, yeah, you gotta just make a declaration on how you feel about this game. If you think that Washington is competitive, you should definitely have passing game options from both sides. You should have both quarterbacks. You should have, some Doxson, some some Trey Quinn. Yeah, some
Reed. I would rather have Reed too. I'd rather have Reed than Quinn.
I would too, but I'm legit probably in like tournaments, like big scale tournaments, I'm probably just going to go from the perspective that Washington wins, the contrarian perspective, and I'll probably have more agents.
Then you'd go like AP, you'd go like Alshon. Yeah, Alshon is like a very contrarian play in this slate because he's been bad for a month straight and he's playing against Josh Norman, but it's not like he's not Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, he can leap up and catch a touchdown easy.
Right. Two.
Sure.
His touchdowns come in bunches. He scores two, quite like actually a high clip.
Okay, so what if Josh Adams is ruled inactive?
That's actually a very good question. I haven't even really pondered it.
Because that's the thing you have to figure out.
Well, let me tell you this. If he is ruled inactive, I will be going 0% Corey Clement, and that is how I will be getting an edge in differential lineups this week. Corey Clement is perhaps the worst running back that the fantasy community has ever deemed like a sleeper or whatever. Corey Clement is an undersized fullback. Like, you go look at this dude's player profiler. I think he ran like a 4.68 40 at like 204 pounds.
Do you remember, like, he scored the touchdown that helped sink the Patriots in the Super Bowl on a straight streak up the seam?
Well, his first score is like 6th percentile, not as in like top 6th, bottom.
But Sproles is actually going to be active in this game.
Is he?
That's the reporting.
Bro, Sproles and the captain.
Nah, he's just not going to get enough touches.
Sproles and the captain.
Enjoy your 3 touches.
The mistake that people make is that you really should not be playing these cheap guys in captain.
No, that's a huge mistake.
Yeah, you need to be playing the studs in captain.
I might play Chris like, if you're going from a Philly is ahead the whole game perspective, I do think Chris Thompson makes sense, and I do think you can captain Chris Thompson.
If you think Philly covers this spread, it's like Chris Thompson or Josh Adams. Josh Adams is a very good captain if you think that they smash.
Yeah.
I won't have any Josh Adams.
Even if he's active?
Yeah.
Like not, I guess not active, but if like Rap Sheet tweets like, oh, he's good to go, he's fine, they're not worried about it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll probably have any.
Well, I think making big fades like that, like this is going to sound ridiculous and everyone's going to laugh at me, but I just went 0% Keenan Allen in this game against Pittsburgh because I had Travis Benjamin and I had Mike Williams and I had like 100% James Conner. So I was just like, and I hate Keenan Allen anyway, so it would just like if he got 7 for 80 or whatever, like that, like I'm locked into profiting basically because I knew he was going to be really popular.
Yeah, I think on the Eagles,
the thing you don't realize is that Pittsburgh likes to cover Keenan Allen with linebackers.
Well, yeah, if I had watched the tape, yeah, I would have realized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, is that it, guys?
I think so. I feel really happy that
we all won this week.
Yeah, we profited, even though we all did our own stupid thing.
And I took down highest score, 162.5. I'll take it.
Nobody cares, Nate.
Nate, does it feel good for you to get a win, man? I know there was some barren weeks for you there.
Davis, I think this is like my 3rd winning week in a row. I've turned it around, man.
Davis scored like 190 last week.
No, I'm saying we both won last week.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant winning like out of the 3 of us.
No,
I definitely would have beat Nate last week.
But last week I had CMC, so I did fine. Because Sammy,
easy, bud.
The wound is fresh for Sammy.
God, I kind of opened myself up to that, honestly.
You
I deserve
it. Sorry, I
deserve it. Yep. Wrecked.
All right. Well, boys, that's going to do it for us here at the Gillcast. Catch us back next week, hopefully with another week where all 3 of us. Actually, it's way better when 2 of us win and 1 of us loses. Those shows are way better. Have we done a show where all 3 of us have lost this year?
Yes. There's been some depression ones.
Oh yeah. There's been at least 1, maybe 2.
I'm trying to I got to go back and look at my entries. I just don't remember these things. I think the last time I lost was in like week 8.
I think people like it the best when we win and Nate loses. So let's try to make that reality.
I can confirm the reports that people like it best when Nate loses.
That's not happening.
Well, Nate, the reason why they like it is you're such a giant nerd, and they don't think of Sammy and I that way, so they really like when we're just like, oh, bro, dude, it's a field game. Like they all really enjoy that.
Well, and we can actually take L's also. Like Nate doesn't take the L.
Yeah,
He fights the L.
Yeah. Like Sammy, you see how Sammy took that L with Julio Jones? Like you could learn something from that, Nate.
Yeah, just personal responsibility, man. Just, take some notes, watch the film.
Personal responsibility, watch the film.